Loss is nothing else but change, and change is nature's delight. No matter how we look at things, change is always there. The clothes that we wear, the food that we eat, the ideas that we share. When we die, we change into some part of the universe, and that again will change into another part of the universe, and so on, forever. All things change forever. Loss is simply a manifestation of it. Losing an object, losing a friendship, losing a family member, losing ourselves. Those losses can be painful and can also happen all at once to a single person. The unfortunate tale of Mikasa Ackerman from Attack on Titan. Just like many of us, Mikasa was an innocent child, but then life happened. For her, it was a group of human traffickers who barged into her home and brutally murdered her parents in front of her eyes. A traumatic event that many of us could not relate to. However, there is a moment in this tragedy that is deeply relatable. As Eren tells her to fight back against the last remaining kidnapper, Mikasa recalls a praying mantis eating a butterfly. It was at that moment she acknowledged death. In Japanese culture, the butterfly symbolizes the cycle of birth, transformation, and death. A natural cycle that we've all learned to accept. We may not remember when or how it happened, but we've all been through this exact moment in our lives. The moment we acknowledge death. Human beings are supposedly the only animals aware of their own mortality, but many other animals understand death and grieve. Psychologists believe that feelings associated with death and loss evolved as we started to survive through collaboration and community. Hence why animals share those painful feelings too when experiencing death. Similar to us, they were encouraged to protect their group against future losses as part of their survival. Theodosius Dobzhansky, geneticist and evolutionary biologist, once wrote, "Nothing in biology makes sense except in the light of evolution." Our emotional attachment to people, things, and places all stem from our evolution to improve our survival rate as a species. Whether it is a relationship, a memorable place such as a childhood home, an important date such as an anniversary, or an object such as a scarf, the emotions we receive from our attachment to these things give us a sense of safety and belonging. Understanding the nature of these emotions can help us overcome the painful feelings of loss. Not to say that we want to suppress or avoid those emotions, but rather to be aware of them. We cannot accept things we do not know, so knowing is, naturally, the first step into acceptance. After that event, Eren Yeager's family took her in, offering her a second opportunity at a happy family. Unfortunately, this new home of hers was destroyed once again. And just like that, another trauma was added to the list. You would think that dealing with loss gets easier the more often you experience it. Just like anything we practice, right? Unfortunately, every loss is unique, making it difficult to get accustomed to as they happen. We live in a cruel world where external events outside of our control can inflict tremendous pain and suffering. However, this does not mean that there's nothing we can do to alleviate it. One possible answer lies in a word I recently learned, what Buddhism calls nekama. Nekama, translated as renunciation in Pali, is the practice of non-attachment. It is the wisdom to realize that holding on to anything impermanent only brings suffering. Instead, we should appreciate the present moment from a place of peace. Attachment to impermanent things such as ideas, people, and circumstances is viewed as the main deterrent to inner peace. And that makes perfect sense to me. If you hold on to something that will disappear, of course you'll be sad. But if attachment is the cause of our suffering, does it mean that we need to detach ourselves from everything and everyone we care about and to give up our ability to love, to be happy? That would be extremely tragic. Thankfully, non-attachment is not the same as detachment. Non-attachment is a state free from desire where we are not trying to get anything from anybody because we understand that our well-being comes from our own consciousness. As a result, we are not dependent on external factors to be happy and free. Detachment, on the other hand, is to escape from something to avoid those painful feelings. Detachment can take many forms: escapism through drugs, movies, video games, or simply by a lack of interest in the world around you. What you don't know won't hurt you, as they say. But all those things are just different ways for someone to rely on external dependencies to forget about their own issues, to avoid confronting them. For Mikasa, that external dependency was Aaron's well-being. Holding on to him, or even just his memories, was Mikasa's way of escaping her own fears. The fear of losing someone because it hurts so much, the fear of being alone, the fear of losing the will to live. Those fears are common and hard to overcome. But how can one live a normal life while practicing non-attachment? Can one love without attachment? The answer is, when we no longer expect others to bring us happiness, but rather take responsibility for our own happiness, that is when we accept to let go. The most important scene in the ending of Attack on Titan actually paints this acceptance. When Mikasa kills Eren and renounces her attachment to him, she is at peace with the idea of not having him by her side. She is at peace with sacrificing Eren to save the world. This may sound like an easy decision from our perspective, but keep in mind that Eren was her world, her life purpose. We all fixate on different things in life, and sometimes we can fixate on things for too long and too intensely, resulting in tunnel vision. Think about the problems that most people stress about on a regular basis. Money, validation, social status. People often prioritize those desires over the well-being of others. Becoming aware of your attachments and purposefully releasing yourself from your desires is how one alleviates the pain of loss. It brings an internal peace independent from any external and allows you to be free from desires and to enjoy life as it is. The scene where Mikasa holds Eren's head is symbolic of this renunciation. She did not stop loving him, but she learned to love him without attachment. She took responsibility for her own happiness rather than rely on him to be happy. She was finally able to let go.